Immigrants are welcome here. Say it loud and say it clear. Immigrants are welcome here. Say it loud and say it clear. Immigrants are welcome here. Immigrants are welcome here. I started Gresham. I started Gresham.
Resistance is futile.
I started Gresham. I started Gresham. I started Gresham.
Illegal
I started Gresham. I started Gresham. I should not listen here. I should not welcome here. I should not welcome here.
ICE is legal.
To the people.
We love ICE.
No one is illegal.
Resistance is futile. Resistance is futile. Resistance is futile.
No one is illegal.
Resistance is futile.
Power to the people.
Resistance is futile.
No one is illegal.
Resistance is futile.
No one is illegal.
Resistance is futile.
I started Gresham.
We love ICE.
I started Gresham.
We love ICE.
I started Gresham. 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 I started Gresham.
Deportation will continue.
I started Gresham.
Donald Trump is still your president.
I started
Love this
Gresham.
country.
I started Gresham. I started Gresham. I started Gresham. I started Gresham. I started Gresham.
Deportation will continue.
I started Gresham. 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 Who speaks? Who speaks? Who speaks? Who speaks? Who speaks? Who speaks? Who speaks?
American street.
Who speaks?
American street.
Who speaks?
American street.
Who speaks?
American street.
I started Gresham.
The city of Gresham is holding a council meeting to declare a state of emergency because of ICE. There are counter protesters here.
Welcome here.
Illegal immigrants are not welcome here. Illegal immigrants are welcome here. Illegal immigrants are not welcome
We will
here.
not put up with that. We will not put up with that.
We love ICE.
Immigrants are welcome here. Say it loud and say it clear. ICE is not welcome here. Say it loud and say it clear. ICE is not welcome here. Say it loud and say it clear. ICE is not welcome here. 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 ICE is not welcome here.
Deportation will continue.
ICE is not welcome here.
Deportation will continue.
ICE is not welcome here.
Are you legal?
Outside of Gresham.
Are you a legal citizen?
Outside of Gresham. Outside of Gresham.
anything.
I said Gresham. 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 Say it once and say it twice. Say it once and say it twice. We will not put up with this. We will not put up with this. Say it loud and say it clear.
Resistance is
Immigrants are welcome here.
Immigrants are welcome here.
Say it loud and say it clear.
Say it loud and say it clear.
Immigrants are welcome here.
Immigrants are welcome here.
Say it loud and say it clear.
3 more years of Donald Trump. 3 more years of Donald Trump. 3 more years of Donald Trump.
Immigrants are welcome here.
Immigrants are welcome here.
Say it once and say it twice.
Legal immigrants are welcome here.
We will not put up with this.
We will not put up with ICE.
We will not put up with this.
We will not put up with ICE.
We will not put up with this.
Oh, yes, you will.
We will not put up with this.
Oh, yes, you will.
We will not put up with this.
Oh, yes, you will.
We will not put up with this.
Oh, yes, you will.
We will not put up with this.
Oh, yes, you will.
We will not put up with this.
Yes, you will.
We will not put up with this.
We will not put up with ICE.
We will not put up with this.
We will not put up with ICE.
Say it loud and say it clear.
Say it loud and say it clear.
Immigrants are welcome here.
Immigrants are welcome here. Say it loud and say it clear.
Immigrants are welcome here.
Immigrants are welcome here.
Say it loud and say it clear.
Say it loud and say it clear.
Immigrants are welcome here.
Immigrants are welcome here.
You know your tactics. God bless ICE. More funding for ICE. More funding for ICE. God bless ICE. Help ICE. Gotta get the fuck out.
I said Gresham.
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 I said
I said Gresham.
I said
I said Gresham.
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Commissioner Joe Station. Hey, hello. Hello. I just want to. Hey.
They gotta go.
Hello. Good afternoon. My name is Commissioner Joe Station. Right now, we are swearing in the very first African American chief of our fire department. You guys are welcome to join us over there. We have about 100 people that are leaving this building. I know the council meeting starts at 6 o'clock. So again, I just
ICE
thank you guys.
stays in Portland. More funding for ICE.
Hey,
More funding for ICE.
Double, triple
Okay.
ICE is
Well, I just
paying,
want
making
to-
neighbors go away.
God bless ICE. More funding for ICE. We love ICE. No more sanctuary cities.
Say it loud and say it clear.
Y'all are passive.
All right, we're gonna start heading in. I said Gresham.
I said Gresham.
I said Gresham.
I said Gresham.
We love ICE. Go home and get our lives. Triple ICE is paid.
Americans only.
I don't know. They're open for it. You love that thing.
Americans only, motherfucker.
America first. America only.
America only.
You going in?
Only. It's better, I tell you what. No, for this.
Just like the peaceful protest at ICE every night. ICE isn't going anywhere. They're going to keep deporting the illegals no matter how much you fucking libtards cry. No matter how much you liberals cry for illegal immigrants, they're still going to get
All we
deported.
do is fill our cup. That's right.
They're all going to get deported. Every last one of them. Go back to where they came from. Especially the Somalis. They really got to go. And the Islamists. You're in the Epstein files, SSRI lady. Look at those SSRIs. I can see them through that little invisible fucking umbrella you got too. No more illegals stealing tax dollars. No more Somalis frauding our tax dollars.
Yeah. Not to mention California, Ohio, Massachusetts. It's all coming. Oregon too. All the fraud's gonna come up.
Yep, all of it.
All y'all thieves.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's it.
I'm a journalist at Oregon Public Broadcasting. We're going all over the state asking people how they feel about the first year of Trump's second term, and I was wondering you might want to answer the questions. Okay, thank you.
That's what you think real men do? Stand there and hold the drills against people like cash and stuff? Yeah, that's what it is. Huh? You know, you can't respond to my question. That's what fascists do. That's what modern day fascists do. You don't let us speak. That's right. Keep trying. It ain't working. Y'all lost. Y'all called protesters. Y'all lost. Keep trying. Keep trying. Keep trying. That's right. But take that news that I won't respond. Probably not, huh? Mainstream fucking piece of shit news. You guys are the fakest fucks in the world. You don't even make as much money as we do. We actually don't even
Fuck that chicken!
All news fucking pieces of shit are lying fucking fascist pieces of shit. Promote propaganda, you're the same as the Nazis. Pussy boy. Pussy boy, pussy boy, pussy boy. Yeah, you're fucking mainstream piece of shit. Everybody knows it. All of America, the whole world knows. All you do is promote lies.
And they're using taxpayer
You're a
dollars
piece
to
of shit.
hardworking
Real
Americans.
men stand
Go
for
towards
truth.
non-American.
Yes, they
You don't know shit.
Everything is being forced on laws. Trans women are retarded men.
Fuck KGB. Fuck all those mainstream fucking pieces of shit.
KGW. At least they reasonable. They're trying to have retail competition.
I'm raping a man with your leg, you little boy.
Not my interest in prostitutes. And they assault people physically at these kinds of rallies. It becomes very
Yeah,
crowded.
but
I'm sorry for that because
what's
I
up?
think reasonable people can agree to
Jason,
disagree.
don't say
I mean, that's the truth.
Yeah, what are you doing? You running fucking ass. Do something yourself. Run your faggot ass now, bitch. Yeah, I am 4'2" and I'll beat the fuck out of you.
Local
What's up,
ordinances
bitch?
have an impact on federal laws.
Yeah, you're right.
And, I
Bigger
would
than
just like
you,
to see
exactly.
people take
Bow
advantage
down.
of the real
Bow
federal
down
laws
to the
that
mayor of
should be
Munchkin
used.
City, bitch.
Let's go. They can go home. with the stipend.
Fucking pussy ass lying, bitch. You're a liar. There's gonna be a special place to help faggots like you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, fire and kids to hell.
Right.
We're gonna get $3,000.
Abortion is murder.
Look at you, you're such a passive aggressive little bitch.
Yeah,
You don't
the
stand
U.S.
for the
government
truth.
was offering
You don't stand for nothing.
illegal aliens
You
who
stand for
deported
fucking dollars.
themselves, self-reported,
Lie.
$3,000 to go back to their homes, and then they could then file the paperwork to come in here legally. That would have been a good thing for the city government to do. My government does the same thing. They even in Hillsborough.
Cry about it too. Living off the government, crying at the government. Fucking bullshit. Pussy. Fucking retard. Fuck that chicken. Fuck that chicken. We're bringing back public execution for all terrorist fuck.
Yes, sir. But it's the legal process.
You might want to try something other than a beheading with me. I can go on for a little while
Nobody gives
after
a
that.
fuck what you have to say. We're fucking crucified.
Yes.
We're gonna take this shit, baby. How about that?
I mean, we need it everywhere.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
like-
It's nice to see you.
The laws are very clear as to how they're doing
Well,
now.
I'm
I agree that some of the
Anti-terrorist
implications are a little bit heavy-handed, but
Yeah.
the reason they're heavy-handed is because of actions like this. If governments were to participate and to cooperate with the federal government, if local and state governments participated in cooperating with the federal government, I think they would absolutely be less violent. What you would see is you would see violent criminals deported, and you would see other citizens let them go. But since they don't allow that, then people have to go into the, I just have to go into the schools.
I know it's hard.
It's unfortunate.
It
I agree that, you know, some seafarers get split up, but at the same time, if they're very legally.
Just making sure that people that aren't normally at protests can get out there. Yeah. Theory.
So, hey, you seem like a very reasonable people. I've turned into more than my share of reasonable people today, so I appreciate you listening to our point of view.
Yeah.
You can be reasonable with reasonable people and reasonable circumstances.
Not necessarily.
Oh, absolutely, that's why you're evening, nice talking to you.
Yeah, they just said they really need to go on and they're staging.
Well, there we go.
Oh, we're still down.
Chicken's still out there.
Police department, which is like, we actually are out quite a bit on the box support, so. And then they also go behind that with Village Meyer, so I was saying, well, whoever owns the parking.
With the Nikon camera still out here.
Certain things, we're gonna go with these businesses because we're not gonna allow ice to stay right
Yeah,
there.
keep
We're not gonna
photographer.
allow ice to allow, like, right here.
You time to go in? So you gonna go in and speak?
Nico never showed up.
I noticed you have your store just inside.
Absolutely.
That one's dead.
No, I would never do that. Especially what you guys do. Thank you. We support law enforcement all the way, and I know it puts you guys in a difficult situation, but thanks for clarifying that for me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I might go actually put this out in the car and then come back and just listen to the meeting.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
It's a lot warmer in here, that's for sure.
If you have any other questions, feel free to come ask.
I will. No, just really observations. A lot of these people we see in front of the ice facility in downtown Portland. It's pretty hot.
I can just get my house keys from my friend.
No more funding for illegals.
I was gonna bring that the sign you made, but I forgot.
Oh, yeah. I think I'm gonna go to the car and put the bullhorn away, and then I'm gonna grab my I can fix it up over this wall. Yeah, record from out here. I didn't put in a speaker slip. I don't know whether they did. It's good.
I did, but I doubt they'll let me.
We'll see. We'll see. They don't know who you are. Unless you sent Tommy Boy.
I had to email somebody specifically, and I'm pretty sure, yeah. Where's the baby oil stash?
Diddy's probably got it.
Diddy got that shit in his prison cell.
Sharing that with Maduro.
Yeah. Insurrection Act for all sanctuary cities. I agree.
Tommy Boy equals freedom of speech, baby. They all know me. Yeah, the cop called me back today. He wanted to know what my plan was. He said that somebody sent him an email saying that I was going to be here. And I said, and like, so he's like, well, what do you plan on doing? And I was like, well, I plan on protesting these anti-ICE
Notice
fucks.
all of those flags are higher than the state of Oregon flag.
It was really weird, dude. Look at the frogs. There's really a frog.
Some skirts.
What about we? Debbie, Lizzie, what up? That's it, the frog.
Notice all of those flags are up higher than the United States flag and the Oregon flag.
I like it. That's great. Yeah. Did you know illegal is still your tax dollars? Yeah.
I'm trying to go try parking here. No, I did not. I did not do that.
Please have your
Probably not good marriage.
Yeah, some of us have already put in our names.
That's all that matters.
This man had actually posted something about that. Posted like a picture of the.
He said, I don't know, it's like a brand. That would drive people.
If any more of us want to speak on this on another on something in a future meeting, because they just don't have that form.
Go like that. You guys like my shirt? Don't be that for Trump and definitely Trump. There's two of them now. Where did you get what? That shirt. Somebody gave this shirt to me. I don't even remember who. Somebody gave it. I think you did. No? King Trump, yeah. Somebody gave it to me. I have it. Let's go. I need some water in my life. My phone is dripping water.
Yeah. Not wrong about that.
Native American. She said that people don't have yeah.
And actually, folks that it wasn't staying. I never heard of the rule because they didn't find characters. They didn't know how wonderful it would be. So it's really ironic, but back then. Yeah, exactly.
All right, Travis just got here, so
Travis
I gotta
Jur is here.
Going down the
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Greatly appreciate you joining us this evening. I want to first apologize for running a little bit late. We actually just swore in our new police chief, fire chief. Goldberg, Chief Goldberg, I apologize. You're here. So ultimately, we just had the opportunity to swear in our fire chief, Jeffrey Gresham. So we were just completing that, welcoming him to the team. So if you see two guys, please welcome him to his new role and position. So I appreciate that. So with that, we're going to call the meeting to order. This is the Gresham City Council business meeting. Today is January 6th. The time is now 6:09. We're going to start with our roll call. Councilor Brown. Here. Councilor Ross. Here. Council President Hinton. Here. Councilor Keith. Here. Councilor Piazza. Here. Councilor Gladwell. I'm Mayor Travis Scoville, so you have the entire council here this evening. I want to first address the last council meeting that we had, and for the folks who were here, I do want to say that I actually missed the last council meeting, and there was a comment that I did go to the hospital, to the emergency room. So I just wanted to let you all know, those of you who are here and concerned, that if you've ever heard of, and may not heard of, it was called costochondritis. Yes, I can hear some. I never heard of this before, but it's inflammation of the chest cartilage, and it mimics a heart attack. So there were some folks who thought that was the case. Thankfully, it wasn't. But recovered, and I'm back. So those of you who are here, I know I got a lot of folks reaching out with concern. So just wanted to clear that up. Costochondritis inflammation it goes away over time. So just want to make sure that we have that out there so that folks, like I said, who were here prior now know that I'm back. We're going to go to our moment of silence, and then I'm actually going to ask council for a few things as we talk about kind of the run-up show for our agenda today. So our moment of silence allows us to see guidance on our way as we deliberate the city's business. So please join us in our moment of silence. Thank you for joining us in our moment of silence. I appreciate the opportunity to allow us to see guidance in our own way as we deliberate the city's business. So what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about just kind of what we call a run-up show this evening. First and foremost, I'm going to ask the council for just a brief change in the agenda. We've got 3 quick items that are on our business agenda. We're going to move with the council's approval. We'll move that to just before the staff update. We'll cover those 3 business items, and then we're going to move to the staff update, and then our community comments, and then the council's ability to have a deliberation about the request that's before us. So I'm looking at the council to see if we've got the general consensus. All right. Furthermore, I want to address where we sit from a perspective of kind of the overall general need. Folks, there are a lot of folks here who are passionate about the subject matter that you're here for. And we absolutely get that. I get that. We all do. We have folks who probably don't necessarily agree with each other. But the core thing that I'm going to ask of you this evening is that we appropriately and through a sense of making sure that everybody has their opportunity to say what they need to say and want to say, and allow the council to do its deliberation is going to be critical. So with that said, I'm asking you to ensure that we don't have outbursts. We have an opportunity to kind of listen to the comments. If you've sent us things, we've read them, and then have an opportunity to deliberate and have this discourse with the council. So with that said, that's what I'm asking of you. If at any point someone has an outburst, I'm going to please ask you to allow us to do what we came here to do, and that's have our business meeting. Now, with all of that said, again, we appreciate the opportunity to listen to our community. That's foremost what we want to do. We'd like to do when we're struggling and wrestling with key decisions. So with that, I know there were folks who were concerned about the ability and opportunity to actually testify. We actually limit each topic to 30 minutes on our agenda. And over time, we've had this in place for a long time. Previous leadership put it in place. We actually looked at it. I looked at it as the mayor and kept it in place because we absolutely want folks the opportunity to have the opportunity to speak to our council on multiple topics. And so with that said, we do have 10 folks that are on this. That's 30 minutes. Then we have another person who's actually going to be talking about a different topic. So we'll actually get that. If you sent us written comments, we've looked at those. You also have any opportunity as you hear discussion tonight, as you hear testimony this evening, you can also send us written comments and written testimony. So please do that. If you've got something that you've heard this evening that you absolutely want to be heard about something, you can absolutely send us those comments so that we consider them as we are deliberating and moving forward with whatever action we're looking at taking. So please, that's your avenue, and I can tell you that this council is dedicated to ensuring that we take those things into consideration. We absolutely read the data and things that are sent to us. Matter of fact, I got an email today, and within the hour, I called the person to have a dialogue. And what they were emailing me about is the topic of this evening. And so we are responsive in these efforts and want to make sure that we hear you in what you're saying. So again, if you hear something this evening that you agree with, that you want to give us additional information for, please get us that information, and we can take that into consideration as we move towards deliberation which again, you'll hear this evening as we get through both the staff update, our community comments, and then we'll have an opportunity to have deliberation. So I implore you to stay, for that deliberation. So with that, we are going to, we do have a proclamation, and I'm just going to reference that proclamation. We generally have those in the back. This proclamation is our school board recognition month. We have a proclamation that we want to make sure that folks know that we are very supportive of our school boards. And one thing different that we'll be doing this year is we won't be reading the proclamations out loud. We will have them at the meeting. We will reference them. So with that, we're going to move to, we're going to move our brief business items to just before the staff update. Our very first business item is our council meeting minutes from December 9th, 2025. Council, is there a motion to approve? So moved. Councilor Keith, is there a second? Second. Councilor Morales. So we've got a motion and a second for the approval of the minutes for December 9th, 2025. Is there further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. So any against? All right, motion carries unanimously. So we've got those approved. Now we're going to move to item E1, which is an ordinance identifying boundaries for the Gresham Regional Center and Rockwood Town Center. And so we've got a few folks that are coming up. So we've got Tara Wilcoxon, who's our planning manager, and Austin Ross, planner number 2.
Thank you, Mayor Stonewall, Council President Hinton, City Council. I'm Tara Wilcoxon, Gresham's planning manager. As always, I want to thank you for your attention. Unlike many of planning's recent agenda items, staff's presentation tonight will be quite brief. Staff has
Actually, can you move the mic closer?
Is that better?
Much better, thank you.
Thank you. So unlike many of planning's recent agenda items, staff's presentation tonight will be quite brief. Staff has a largely procedural action for your consideration. You'll recall on November 4th, 2025, City Council adopted development code updates for compliance with Oregon's climate-friendly and equitable communities rules, or CPEC. The proposed resolution tonight is also triggered by CPEC. However, it does not change standards for development, rather it clarifies boundaries on Metro's maps. Austin Ross, Planner 2, has taken the lead on the proposed resolution, and he will be presenting the details tonight. Then staff are available for questions. Austin, would you like to take it away?
Thanks, Tara. Good evening, Mayor Stovall, Council President Hinton, and City Council. I'm Austin Ross, Planner 2, and this is consideration of an ordinance to adopt the boundaries of the Gresham Regional Center and Rockwood Town Center. This ordinance is proposed to ensure compliance with requirements of the Metro Urban Growth Management Functional Plan, which is the portion of the Metro Code that concerns region-wide planning work. This is not a comprehensive plan amendment. Thanks. The ordinance under consideration is based on state and Metro requirements and creates boundaries for 2 centers designated by Metro in the 2040 growth concept. These centers are different from our local land use districts and design districts, and their designation does not affect our existing land use regulations. When the state adopted its climate-friendly and equitable communities, or CPEC rules, a provision was included, which Metro adopted as well, requiring jurisdictions to adopt boundaries for the centers in the 2040 growth concept for which they have a planning responsibility. Each city in the Metro region needs to provide boundaries for their centers to Metro by February 1st, 2026. Gresham has 3 centers: Gresham Regional Center, Rockwood Town Center, and Pleasant Valley Town Center. The boundaries of the Pleasant Valley Town Center were already adopted in 2025, but the boundaries of the Gresham Regional Center and Rockwood Town Center have yet to be adopted. The CPEC rules intend these centers to function as climate-friendly areas with walkable development patterns that will reduce the need for residents to drive. However, designating the boundaries of these centers does not require Gresham to change existing zoning or development standards. The Metro 2040 growth concept identifies the central city in Portland, as well as regional centers, town centers, main streets, and corridors across the metro area. This portion of the growth concept map shows Gresham centers in the context of the larger East Metro area. Gresham Regional Center is envisioned to take on similar regional significance to areas like Clackamas and Gateway. Rockwood Town Center and Pleasant Valley Town Center are envisioned as more locally serving centers, similar to areas like Milwaukee or Troutdale. The concept map identifies the general locations of the centers, but it's up to each jurisdiction to adopt the exact boundaries. Gresham Regional Center is composed of the downtown and civic neighborhood plan districts. This combined area is already a focus for growth and development in Gresham, and it's intended for compact, walkable development, so its designation as a regional center is fitting. Rockwood Town Center is identified in this ordinance is made up of the Rockwood Design District, except for the area around 162nd and Burnside. This area was excluded because it's not contiguous with the rest of the Rockwood Design District, and it's surrounded by low-density residential districts, which don't meet the intent of the town center designation. Adopting the boundaries of the Gresham Regional Center and Rockwood Town Center ensures compliance with state and metro statutes. Therefore, staff recommends that City Council move to adopt Council Bill 10-25, adopting boundaries for the Gresham Regional Center and the Rockwood Town Center identified on the Metro 2040 growth concept map, and approve the enactment reading. Thank you for your time and attention tonight, Mayor Stovall, Council President Hinton, and City Council. This concludes the presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Austin and Jared. Any questions for staff, folks? Yes, Councilor Keefe.
I don't have a question, and I know that there are specific things that we want to come out of this, and the reasons, and just because we have so many people here for an educational piece, the reasons are to be compliant with 2040 and state rules. But beyond that, what is the biggest benefit of creating the regional centers like we have in terms of how that impacts the city?
Thank you. We appreciate that question, Councilor Keithley. This is an interesting action that we have before us tonight. When climate friendly and equitable community rules were put into place, they required that all cities across the state designate what are called climate friendly areas. If you're outside of the metro region, that designation had a lot more impact upon you because there are no centers already established by any entity with any planning authority. If you're inside the Portland metro region, your climate friendly areas have all already been designated by the 2040 map. So this is largely procedural. That being said, there could be certain future actions that do relate to this. So for example, Metro sometimes will tie its grants or investments into its center areas. So by designating these, it helps direct the potential in the future, should those be available and tied to the Metro 2040 planning areas, us directing those funds to these areas as appropriate.
Excellent, thank you.
Other questions or comments on this agenda?
Mayor, Council, move to adopt Council Bill 10-25, adopting boundaries for the Gresham Regional Center and the Rockwood Town Center identified in the Metro 2040 growth concept map, and approve the enactment.
Thank you very much, Council President. Has the motion. Is there a second? Second, Councilor Brown. Thank you very much. Move to discussion. Any further discussion on the agenda item and Council Bill 1025? All right, we'll call the question. All those in favor for the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say aye. All right, motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Our last item is vote for 2026 Council President. So with that, I'll open up the floor for any nomination. Yes, nominations.
I would like to nominate Kathy Keithley as our Council President.
All right, we have a nomination. Are there other nominations, Council President? All right, well, seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Council President. And now I'll turn from this Council President to this Council President. All right, with that, that concludes the business portion of our business meeting. So I just want to thank you all for allowing us that opportunity to take those out of order. With that, we're now going to turn to our staff update. Eric Schmidt, and City Manager Eric Schmidt, and Assistant City Manager Larry Morgan, and Chief of Police Travis Goldberg. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor Stovall, Council President, and both Council Presidents, outgoing and incoming, and councilors. I'm Eric Schmidt, your City Manager, and this evening we wanted to speak with you all tonight to provide an additional update and information to the community at large about the work staff and city leaders have been engaged in since our last public meeting. I am joined tonight by City Attorney Ellen Van Riper, Assistant City Manager Larry Morgan, and Police Chief Travis Goldberg. At the conclusion of this update, we are able to answer any additional questions you may have and provide any additional information as deemed necessary. For the benefit of the viewing audience and those that may not have been in attendance during the December 9th council meeting, I will first ask City Attorney Van Riper to provide a brief reminder of the comprehensive explanation she provided about what the city may lawfully do and what it may not do under federal and state law regarding immigration enforcement. From there, Larry Morgan will summarize what has transpired since the December 9th council meeting, including staff actions. Lastly, we will hear from Police Chief Travis Goldberg to provide updates and reminders about how Gresham Police approach their daily work responsibilities in serving our community. As you are aware, in recent months, members of the Gresham community have been expressing concerns with how the Department of Homeland Security, including ICE, has been conducting immigration enforcement operations in Gresham and surrounding communities. During the past month, Council has received testimony from community members describing widespread fear, chaos, and uncertainty caused by ICE immigration operations. To reiterate what was communicated on December 9th, I want to underscore the complexity, the sensitivity, and confidentiality that is necessarily accompanies issues of immigration enforcement. These topics sit at the intersection of federal authority, state law, constitutional protections, and local public safety obligations. Often, these forces collide in challenging ways, and the city must navigate them carefully, lawfully, and without political consideration. With that, I will turn it over to City Attorney Van Riper.
Thank you, Eric. Good evening, Mayor Stovall, Council President, outgoing Council President incoming Keithley, and councilors, and also members of the public. I will recap some of my comments from the December 9th meeting regarding legal considerations for the benefit of the audience here tonight and also who may be online. I'll begin with what the City of Gresham legally may not do. Federal immigration law may only be enforced by federal agencies such as DHS and ICE. States and local governments may not independently enforce and are not required to enforce immigration laws. In Oregon, the Sanctuary Promise Law prevents the state and local governments from working with federal agencies for immigration enforcement. The Oregon Sanctuary Promise Law forbids state and local law enforcement to directly or indirectly participate in immigration enforcement absent a judicial warrant or other court order. This prohibition includes sharing immigration-related personal information about individuals, including the date of birth, country of birth, residence address, etc., with federal immigration agencies. In sum, the state of Oregon, Multnomah County, and Gresham have no legal duty to assist or cooperate with immigration enforcement operations by federal agencies and may not affirmatively choose to do so. However, the Oregon Sanctuary Promise Law does not allow the state or local law enforcement agency to obstruct or interfere with immigration enforcement efforts by DHS, ICE, or any other federal agency. Doing so would be a violation of federal law. The city may not exclude or prevent DHS, ICE, or any other federal agency enforcing immigration laws from entering upon city public property that is otherwise open to public access. This includes city parking lots, parks, streets, sidewalks, plazas, and any other public space freely accessible to the general public. The city, however, may exclude ICE, DHS, and other federal immigration enforcement personnel from entering city property or facilities not open to the general public, such as offices within City Hall and the police department, to which the public does not have authorized access. However, the city would have to allow access to non-public spaces if presented with a proper judicial order. The city also may not prevent federal immigration enforcement agencies from entering upon school property, church grounds, or any privately owned property. Any right to exclude will lie with the property owner of those properties. Now, what the city of Gresham legally may do. Importantly, the Oregon Sanctuary Promise Law does not prohibit all cooperation by local law enforcement with federal agencies, only for immigration. For example, joint federal and state or local law enforcement operations or task forces related to drug enforcement, human trafficking, etc., are not restricted by the Sanctuary Promise Law. Even more important is that the Oregon Sanctuary Promise Law does not prohibit all contact or interaction between local law enforcement and federal agencies conducting immigration enforcement. It is lawful for Gresham Police Department to monitor where DHS and ICE are conducting operations in Gresham so they can perform local law enforcement duties not related to immigration. This promotes officer safety and compliance with the Oregon Sanctuary Promise Law by not having Gresham officers inadvertently become involved in an immigration enforcement operation. It is also lawful for Gresham Police Department to not share this limited information with the public to avoid obstructing or interfering with immigration enforcement by federal agencies. Now, the last item I will address is whether the city of Gresham may adopt an emergency declaration similar to those adopted by Washington County, Hillsborough, Woodburn, Salem, and other Oregon communities. Approving an emergency declaration is not on tonight's agenda, so the council may not take any action this evening to approve the declaration. The council may only take legal action if an item is on the published agenda. I also have two comments about whether the city should formally declare an emergency. First, adopting an emergency declaration would not stop or lessen federal immigration enforcement operations in Gresham. It does not carry that authority. Second, I have heard anecdotally that adopting a declaration may promote increased federal immigration enforcement in the community. Thank you, Mayor and Council. If you have any questions, I think we can hold those for the end. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Helen. Council. Since the last public council meeting and into the break, staff has taken some directives and some action we want to update all the public about, but also each of you as you deliberate further actions you may take up as well. So in line with public comment and community feedback, the city held its first Know Your Rights training. This was in conjunction and coordination and led by a community partner, Latino Network. This virtual and in-person option was provided to allow community members from diverse backgrounds and interests to know additional information as well as constitutional rights as well. Latino Network continues to be an amazing partner with the city. Since 2020, the city, through the form of aid, grants, and other contracts, has given about $1.1 million of funds to Latino Network, and that relationship continues to be strong and robust. In alignment with community feedback, the mayor issued a public statement on December 16th that was community-wide and region-wide, outlining his vision and ultimately action the council may take. City staff and HR are actively developing, implementing a training for all staff that will allow additional legal clarifications and scenarios that staff should know about as it relates to being public employees for the city of Gresham. This will allow staff to ask questions and have dialogue, as well as know additional guidance as it relates to legal dialogue. We also would like to thank Rep. Ricky Ruiz and his office for putting us in line with other communities that are doing this. It's been great to get the feedback and the communications. The staff is actively working with the police department and other partners to develop an informational video that will educate the community and public at large as it relates to Gresham PD's involvement or lack thereof, as it relates to the Oregon sanctuary law and the role of local law enforcement in the community. I would note there's a lot of information that's been communicated from different channels, from different folks with different interests. And so Chief Goldberg and team are committed to educating the public and the community at large about what law enforcement locally do, what they don't do, what they can do, what they're legally permitted from doing. So we're working to develop that. And I would note a lot of the items that staff has taken action on are still in the works as it relates to being on break. So staff and various departments are still working to come back and we're still in a lot of these areas. The city is also working to provide a dedicated web presence, community resources for various items. We've heard from community partners and others that there's concerns and questions as it relates to guidance or feedback. We've heard the same thing from school districts. So we are working to develop a one-stop shop on our website that will provide resources for communities done in multiple languages, resources around water, other health and services related items that community can kind of really work and coordinate around in short order. Additionally, staff is working to prepare one pager that can be again translated and quickly disseminated amongst the community of items that are coming. I would note that the immigration enforcement is nothing new and it continues to change every day. It's critically important that we are not only up to speed and efficient with our time, but as it ever evolves, we want to make sure our community is aware of the resources that are available and done so in a timely manner. One item that we did dating back to December 9th, the city stood up a community-led email, communitysafety@GreshamOregon.gov. This is an email that community members or other communities and people in the community can use to provide information, give feedback, give tips, or other things related to immigration or broader community safety concerns. We've been talking with the school district and other partners. This was critical to have a resource that community members could utilize to ask questions from trusted sources and work to coordinate that. We've not had a robust dialogue with incoming emails, but it is available and the staff will be working to communicate that out to the public at large with trusted partners, with ecumenical ministries and other trusted community partners across the board. One item that I mentioned earlier, but I will reiterate, the department coordination with superintendents in the schools has been essential. So early on, even predating December 9th meeting, staff met with all three superintendents of Gresham schools to talk through concerns, challenges, and we're working with them on an ongoing basis as it relates to aid or items related to education or any other community disruptions. The partnership that our office and MOFI has with law enforcement in the community as well as with the school districts is essential of that trusted partnership. We're not on this alone, we're on this together. And so preserving those open-minded communications with our principals, our educators is essential. As we look to other items, I know that the council received a letter from Congressman Gresham, and we're working to develop a response to those, some of those items. We know that legal counsel has reviewed those, and we're working actively on an ongoing basis with our federal partners as it relates to challenges around Department of Homeland Security and other immigration related items. One thing that I would note is we had a great conversation this week with staff, Dexter's office, district staff, and folks from DC. The areas of communication are open and robust, and it's great to have that community relationship as it relates to our federal partners. One item that came up throughout the process was small business support. We've heard from community members and others, disruptions related to low attendance, community-based small businesses. We placed a call this afternoon to the CEO of the Gresham Chamber, and she is, as always, very open to dialogue and conversation about what need to be available, what we can do in partnership to ensure that small businesses and community members that are in Gresham, in Rockwood, and adjacent know that we want businesses to feel open and safe and to continue to have commerce and economic development. So we're actively working with that. There's a few items that will come into council with a lot of likelihood around other federal resources in regards to small business support, but it's great to have a chamber and a community that wants to support one another in small business. One item that is an update and a big update, we were one of the first local governments to disperse funding as a result of the federal shutdown to a local food bank. And I'm pleased to announce that the city is going to authorize an additional $20,000 to local food providers as it relates to food insecurity as we go through this. This is a commitment that I think council has been very interested in hearing about, and city leadership is very dedicated to do that. We worked very nimbly during COVID. The same applies to this, and so $20,000 will be dedicated for food insecurity out in the community here this week. One other item, and then I'll go with housing support, is around utility assistance. This is a fund that's been, in many cases, underutilized. There's been lack of education and information around that. We've heard all kinds of things in the community around utility assistance. And so as we continue to move that out in multiple languages, we want to ensure that folks in the community that water and other sanitary items are concerned, there are resources available in the community, as there has been for some time since COVID. So we'll work on some education and making sure that there's things in multiple languages. One item that's circulated in the community, I think has been a part of some of the asks, has been around housing assistance. And I just wanted to recap for everybody, but also for council as it relates to the funds that we receive locally, federally, thanks to community partners of the county, our federal partners with HUD and community development block grant funding as well. As it relates to housing assistance, the city has provided about $181,000 in HUD grant funding to our Just Futures for their housing stabilization program. This is a program that I know a lot of people know about, often is critically important and makes Gresham. It's anticipated that Gresham will provide an additional $232,000 in funding to these programs for a total of $413,000 over the next 6 months of the fiscal year. We don't work in January to December, we work in July to June. It's just for everybody's awareness. This, to date, it's helped 25 households and 28 individuals. Of those, 4 households identified as Hispanic or Latino. One item I want to note, both the data and the information, since 2016, a lot of the demographic data has been not available. A lot of community members have not felt safe providing that information. So we're an estimate, but again, these are community members that are in our community. The last thing that I would note is a very successful program that we are blessed to have support from the county in collaboration with support from council is around homeless services. And that team has committed $335,000 in funding for rent assistance thus far in the fiscal year. This funding has assisted 50 households, comprised of 93 individuals. The homeless services team has 160-ish thousand remaining between now and the end of the fiscal. And today we roughly have 20% identified Hispanic. Again, we don't request this information, but that's what was self-selected for life. The last thing that I would note is we talk about ongoing advocacy. There are 2 key programs that I mentioned here, both with HUD and Community Development Block Grant, which are currently federally proposed to potentially unwind or to move. So as I see friends and neighbors behind me, and I see the 7 of you before me, that is an ongoing conversation that I think this community that largely benefits from this program. We wouldn't have the fountain in downtown Gresham, wouldn't have a lot of rental assistance programs that are lifeline to so many in this community. As we think and look at that, that's one program that this council may look to advocate further. I know that Rep. Dexter and others in Congress are actively fighting for that. It's been a bipartisan program for decades. So with that, I'll turn it over to Chief.
Good evening, Mayor Stovall and Council. I'm Travis Goldberg, Chief of Police for the City of Gresham. The Gresham Police Department remains fully committed to complying with the Oregon Sanctuary Promise Law. Our team continues to assess public complaints, review any alleged policy violations, and closely monitor immigration-related federal activity that may affect officer or community safety. This ongoing oversight strengthens transparency, helps us identify concerns early, and supports continuous improvement. Agency policy and state law clearly define how Gresham Police Department personnel must respond to immigration enforcement activity. I want to be unequivocal. We do not and cannot engage in enforcement of immigration status. We have reinforced these requirements through ongoing training and internal communication to ensure every employee understands both their responsibilities and the legal limits of local law enforcement involvement. As part of our compliance efforts, Gresham PD has both informally and formally requested that federal immigration enforcement agents avoid using parking areas adjacent to or accessible from our facilities. This helps maintain clear operational boundaries and reduce confusion and concerns for the public. Regionally, the Gresham Police Department continues to engage with the Oregon State Sheriff's Association and the Oregon Association of Chiefs of Police, both of which have been meeting with senior state and federal partners to address concerns surrounding federal enforcement practices. Through this work, Gresham has been an active and consistent voice. As we previously shared, during a recent statewide meeting with ICE leadership from the state Seattle Regional Office, Oregon law enforcement leaders raised several safety and communication concerns. These included insufficient notice before operations, lack of cross-agency communication, unclear or unmarked uniforms, and vehicles left in public right-of-ways, conditions that could create unnecessary risk for officers and our residents. Law enforcement leaders from across Oregon are now working with U.S. Attorney Scott Bradford to convene a broader meeting with all federal agencies involved in immigration enforcement. In my role as Second Vice President of OACP, I will ensure that Gresham's needs, concerns, and unwavering commitment to sanctuary promise law compliance remain central to that conversation. And I thank you, and I'll turn it over to Eric.
Thank you, Chief. So, Mayor, Council Presidents, past and present, and councilors, just in brief summary, leadership and staff, you can see, has been very active in attempting to work within the legal authorities to uphold the law and best serve our community. We're working to ensure compliance with both state and federal laws, educate the public and our employees about the law, assist those impacted by federal immigration enforcement, and communicate with our various partners in this work. So with that concludes our staff update report. We will turn it back over to the council.
Thank you very much, team. Thank you for all that you do every single day, and a lot of the foresight to do all the work between last meeting and this meeting, and to be able to do a readout to everybody that was here last night, here today. There's been a lot of stuff going on. With that, I want to ask the council if there are any questions that we have for staff before we move to public comment. All right, no questions at this point, but of course, I'll all be here throughout the conversation. All right, thank you so very, very much. Greatly appreciate it. And I want to thank everybody that's here this evening for your patience as we've gone through all of that as we get to the public comment. So, of course, if you were here last time, it's your first time, those wishing to actually testify, whether written or verbal, were asked to actually submit their request to the city recorder by 6 p.m. Monday, January 5th, 2025. Your name is called. We'll please ask you to take a seat up here. We're going to actually call two names, and so we'll invite both of those names to come up. We'll actually speak directly to the microphone. You'll have 3 minutes up on the screen. Now, sometimes I will say, sometimes folks ask me about the 3 minutes, and I do a lot of testifying at our state legislature, and they actually, it's a 3 minute. We've got Representative Ruiz here, and he's reminding me that it's only 2 minutes when I go down to Salem to, and then one time I went down there, and there were so many people that were testifying that it cut me to one. But you know, I think I was pretty effective in getting across what my thoughts are. So once we hit that 3 minutes, if you're not wrapped up, I'll kindly ask you to wrap up. If you're finishing the thought or sentence, please finish your thought or your sentence. Furthermore, I'm going to ask that just so we can maintain decorum, if someone is saying something that you absolutely agree with and you want to show your support, please raise your hand. I mean, that's gonna let us know here the vast number of people who are here in support of your comment. That's going to allow us to officially move through the comments that are going to be before us this evening and allow us to see those who support. So please, if someone is saying something you absolutely agree with, please raise your hand in support. We'll be able to see all of you. For those folks who are even back here, please raise your hand if they're saying something that you're in support of, because we want to make sure that we see what that support looks like as we're going through public comment. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Christina. She is our city recorder, and she, like I said, she will actually call out two names. The first person who actually is going to be speaking tonight actually has a translator, so she's only going to call one name up to begin with, and we're actually going to give that person the full 3 minutes to say what they came to say, and then we're going to translate the other 3 minutes. So this will be a 6 minute testimony because of the translation. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Christina, and you can call the names.
Thank you, Mayor. And to note, we did receive 5 written testimonies that was provided to council and posted online. And so we have, first up is Maria Delgado.
Buenas tardes, alcalde Stowell y miembros del consejo. Mi nombre es María Delgado, mamá soltera, miembro de la comunidad, dula, promotor de salud, líder y activista. Tengo más de 15 años viviendo en Gresham y he venido luchando por años contra el racismo aquí en Gresham. Me encuentro hoy aquí con ustedes para dejarles saber mis experiencias con la presencia de ICE en Gresham y pedirles a ustedes que ya se haga algo y se declare la ciudad en emergencia. Ustedes tienen el poder. Yo soy una residente que da su voto y contribuye con sus taxes. Me siento abrumada con las acciones que ICE está haciendo. Estoy aquí porque ya es tiempo de una respuesta de parte de ustedes. Yo, María Delgado, siento que se nos están pisoteando nuestros derechos como seres humanos. Observo que en los lugares que asiste mi comunidad, como tiendas, escuelas y en las calles, se están violando los derechos humanos. Desde una detención inhumana por ser agresiva, rompiendo vidrios de los carros, siendo esto vandalismo, usando cámaras, usando máscaras, usando carros sin placas, usando cámaras 360, monitoreando las calles y tomando fotos, videos y nuestra persona. Lo que se vive es inaceptable para la estabilidad de la comunidad y para la salud emocional de todas las personas. No olvidando niños y jóvenes que son impactados bajo el miedo de quedar sin uno o de los dos padres. Yo, María Delgado, como líder y activista, no vengo a pedirles, vengo a exigirles que ya se haga algo al respecto. Gracias.
Good afternoon, Mayor Stovall and council members. My name is Maria Delgado, single mom, member of the community, doula, community health worker, leader, and activist. I have more than 15 years living in Gresham, and I have been struggling for years against racism here in Gresham. I find myself here with you all to let you know my experiences with the presence of ICE in Gresham, and to ask you all to take action and declare a state of emergency. You have the power. I am a resident who votes and who contributes to taxes. I feel overwhelmed with the actions of ICE, and I'm here because it's time for you all to give us a response. I, Maria Delgado, feel that our rights as humans are being trampled. In my observations in the places that I assist my community, like stores, schools, and in the streets, they're violating our human rights. From inhumane detentions, from being aggressive, breaking car windows, which is vandalism, using masks, driving cars without plates, using 360 cameras that monitor our streets and take photos, videos of us. What we're living through is unacceptable. for the stability of the community, and for the emotional health of all the people, not forgetting kids, children, youth that are impacted and living with fear of being without their.
Okay, and the next two is gonna be Erin Mitchin and Barbara McDermott.
I'm sorry. Is racial justice, and I fight for those things at the legislature and city and school and wherever I can go. I just wanted to reiterate how important this is to us. As you can see, all these people are here, and the thing that you're here tonight has been really important to take this opportunity to show the leadership that we voted for you folks to help us run our city. It is not okay what's going on. People are scared, the kids are scared. Things are happening at the school level. My daughter's friends have, parents that are not here anymore. It's terrifying. So please, I'm gonna yield the rest of my time for the mass people that are here to testify, but I really urge you across the board to declare a resolution, state of emergency for the city of Gresham, so we can feel safe in our homes and we can feel safe in our schools, in our streets, all of our community members, every day. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for welcoming us here. I'm again going to read testimony from somebody whose business provided by the Sacred Organizing Committee, who works in the community, and this is from a person who's not comfortable coming out publicly right now. My name is Barbara McDermott, but this is from a community member, and this is translated. It says, "Good evening, Mayor Stovall and councilors. I'm Roxana and have been a member of Gresham for 25 years. And all the time I've lived here, I've never seen anything like what is happening today. Everything turned into a nightmare. Before, we did not have fear of going to the shops, the schools, church, or to work. Today, one goes out, but with fear of not being able to return home to our children and families. In fear, immigration will grab us and separate us. They're doing their job very violently. They're beating people, breaking car windows, taking people away without being able to tell their families. They're covering their faces and going after people as if they were criminals when they are the ones acting like one. They're not following the laws. They use cars without license plates. They cover their faces. They throw insults and mistreat people. My children are afraid to go out because they think that just because of the color of their skin, they will do something to them, even though they are US citizens, because they have already seen them take away children based on the color of their skin, not their status. With this, I urge you to declare we are in a state of emergency. Gather funds from the county to support us. Make sure our public buildings will not be used by ICE. Make sure everyone is required to drive with license plates and label public and private spaces in our city. That's the end of the testimony. Thank you.
Next up is Alyssa Walker Keller and Sarah Grossman Samuelson.
Good evening, Mayor Stovall and councilors. My name is Alyssa Walker Keller, and I am the coordinator at PIRC, the Portland Immigrant Rights Coalition. We are a statewide organization, despite our name, that mobilizes rapid response and supports families looking for information about their rights, resources, services, and support when a loved one has been detained. I also spent my childhood in Rockwood and Gresham. I worked for the Multnomah ESD and the Migrant Ed program for over 15 years in East County. Gresham's residents are near and dear to my heart, and right now, this beloved city of mine is in trouble. Your residents are being targeted, and ICE activity in East Multnomah County is having profound impacts, not only on those who they seek to terrorize, but everyone here as well. Our hotline has received over 20,000 phone calls and messages from people in our community reporting ICE activity or suspected activity. Multnomah County has the second highest number of residents detained by ICE at 1,100 since July. At least 80 people have been detained in Gresham since June, and we know this is an undercount. We have heard stories of masked agents breaking into vehicles, dragging people out, of homes broken into during warrantless arrests. This is not law enforcement as usual. These are agents operating without fear of reprisal. They are using pepper spray, violence, and threatening those who are observing and documenting what's happening. They are sending people to hospitals on a regular basis and recklessly driving vehicles with no plates. We have pictures of two cars using the same plate at the same time. This is not community safety. This is using fear as a weapon against the people of Gresham, and they have been emboldened to put every one of you at risk. People I know and love tell me that despite the fact that they've lived here for decades and raised children here, they're now afraid to take their children to school. They're now afraid to go out to church. These are the same people who are providing care for your children and your elders, who are keeping Gresham safe and beautiful with construction work and landscaping. They are ministering to members of your congregations, preparing your food, working at the doctor's office when you're sick. And when they are taken, their broken-hearted family members must pick up the pieces, find and recover a vehicle with broken windows that's left behind, find money to send to the commissary for someone who's been transferred out of the area. They are becoming single parents overnight, and there's a looming eviction crisis in East Multnomah County when people run out of funding. This will impact everyone, landlords, businesses, and schools, where they will be losing middle and high school age students who are suddenly going to need to pitch in as the drivers and providers for their households. I ask that you would declare a state of emergency. It does matter. It matters to everyone in this room. And it will help with the funding, the eviction prevention, because there are families who are specifically being targeted, who've had a loved one detained, who need that help. We need you to uphold and strengthen and enforce sanctuary status in this city and condemn illegal behavior. Look at this room full of your constituents. You at this dais have the power to publicly stand with your neighbors to care for this beautiful community of Gresham and put common sense ordinances in place that say boldly that this behavior is unacceptable in Gresham. They are preying on people who who they presume do not have the resources to marshal to fight back. But together, we will keep Gresham safe, and we will build the kind of place that is safe and protect our neighbors.
Let's get ready to go. Okay, sorry, I was waiting for the three up here on there. Good evening, Mayor Stovall and the City Council of Gresham. My name is Reverend Sarah Gross Samuelson. I'm a Lutheran pastor in the area, member of the Ecumenical Ministry Coalition here, in the Sacred Organizing Coalition. Many of my church members, though my church is just outside of Gresham, live and volunteer here in the city and have called this city home for years. As a person of faith and a pastor, I serve a community that is called to feed the hungry and to amplify the voice of the outcast and the stranger. To that end, I'm here tonight to read a testimony of a member of the community that did not feel safe being physically present. I am a member of the Gresham, Oregon community. My testimony, sadly, is one of constant fear and apprehension of raids, arrests, and deportations, as well as the fear of being victims of kidnapping and violence along the way. Fear of going to work, taking my daughter to school, or simply going to the store. This chronic and extreme fear of losing my belongings manifests itself in deep sadness, guilt, insomnia, irritability, and physical symptoms. Trauma and despair for the people who witness or suffer traumatic events, crying in desperation and feeling inconsolable, as we see and hear in many testimonies. But the greatest fear is the separation of families, the injustice and disappointment that there is no longer an American dream for which we work, that this is no longer a safe country, and the fear and uncertainty that comes with that perception. With this, I urge you to declare that we are in a state of emergency, to gather funds from the county to support families, to make sure our public buildings continue to not be used by ICE, making sure everyone is required to drive with license plates, and label public and private spaces in our city. That is the end of this testimony. I will also amplify and notice that, as Mayor Stovall, you noticed that there was a lot of people that wanted to speak this evening. As a pastor, it's my job to just steward the amplification of voices. So if you are a member of the immigrant community or you represent immigrants this evening and we didn't have time because of good order, would you raise your hand that you also had a story to tell this evening that there's not time for? Thank you.
Next up, we have Jasmine Sprague, and we have Salome Shazuku, who appears to be online. Council members.
Actually, could you actually move the microphone over so that we can hear you? Actually, just a little bit closer.
Oh, I'm close. No one ever told me I was too quiet before. They all know me. That's why they left. Council members and Mayor Stovall, it is a privilege to not be afraid to be here and speak to you tonight. My name is Jasmine Sprague. I was born in Monmouth and raised in Goble. Naming those particular places and not the bigger cities next to them is really important to me, which is why I want you to take me really seriously in our short amount of time tonight when I tell you how important Gresham has been to raising me. My grandparents, who are here with me tonight, hosted Kidnap the Grandkids every summer. These were weeks of summer fun with the cousins and the grandparents, but no parents allowed. We spent endless hours during those summer weeks discovering Gresham and participating in events like the Gresham Arts Festival and soccer camps both at Ascension Lutheran Church and Portland Lutheran School on 182nd, where my grandpa was the coach for the high school. Last year, I had the pleasure of leading a walking tour for ministerial work in Gresham, and as we entered the locker room at Portland Lutheran School, the smell took me back to my 11-year-old self, retreating from the hottest days of the year and ignoring Coach Grandpa's urging to get packed up and home to Grandma. And as I found myself leaving a domestic violence situation with my 2 little boys, I found refuge here in Gresham. This place that was magical for my own growing up. Gresham was a place I started over, just me and my 2 little boys, and it's also the place where myself and my 2 little boys became my spouse and I and our 3 wonderful boys. Gresham is forever a place that I will call home. That locker room at Portland Lutheran School now serves home to As Is Church, and the school building is Rockwood Preparatory Academy, where you've heard they've canceled school due to ICE activity. Gresham has done as much growing up as I have the last 30 years. And today, my own 3 boys attend 3 different public schools in East Multnomah County, schools as diverse as the Rockwood Preparatory Academy. 3 schools full of fearful, anxious, terrified students as their families face racial profiling by federal immigration enforcement officers. And I find myself in a position of needing to teach my children how to cope with the fear that their friends express to them of going missing, or how to be a safe ear for peers whose siblings never made it home from work. Tonight, I'm asking that the City of Gresham declare a state of emergency. I call on each of you to lean into the responsibility you've campaigned for, to sustain Gresham's reputation as a great place to call home, and to perpetuate the magical sense of curiosity and wonder that this place was for me. Hearing staff comments tonight, I would like to end my comments by asking who you hold yourself accountable to. Is that to an outside elected official, or is that to the folks in this room who gave you their votes? We do not expect that the state of emergency will end detentions full stop, but acknowledging the state of emergency that Gresham is experiencing will let people know that they are seen and they are heard and that they are loved by Gresham. Thank you. Great. And now we have Salome Sharuko, who's going to speak. Salome, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good evening. Good evening, Gresham City Council and members of the public. For the record, my name is Salome Shamuku. I use she, her pronouns, and I am here today in my capacity as the chair of the Multnomah County Democrats. I want to start by saying that this issue is very, very dear to my heart, as my family is a mixed-ass family coming from West Africa who decided to settle in the Portland area and we call it home. I have many family members and friends who I've had the pleasure of organizing with, conversing with, working with, that live in Gresham and the surrounding area. I come before you tonight to also urge that the City Council please look into things that they can do, and that is even within the realm of possibility. The reason why I say this is because here in Oregon, as well as in our different cities and in this nation, we've had a history of using the law as a means to oppress and to silence those voices, as opposed to looking at what can be. As we look to see what the City of Gresham can and cannot do, I urge City Council to remind themselves that they are legislators. They set the tone. You all here and local jurisdictions are the ones that push the needle when it comes to national issues. I really encourage you to look at all of the different recommendations that lay before you, to reach out to other jurisdictions such as the City of Portland, Washington County, Multnomah County, to find ways and find the authors of those folks who have already done work to update their sanctuary policies, and to ask them how they did it, why they did it, so that way as we move forward, we're moving forward in solidarity and together. I want to share very quickly a personal story for myself. I, growing up in this area, have and do remember ICE being very present as I was younger, and ripping families apart then and never stopping until now. I want to remind folks too that as we are moving forward, we are seeing efforts across the board against all immigrant and refugee communities, those with status and those without, and that we are going to see a wave of folks and individuals who will become undocumented due to changes in immigration policy, removing things like temporary status protection, and also limiting based on country of origin. And so I ask you to make sure that you are providing and projecting legislation that will protect these communities, not just the City of Gresham's entity, but the community members who reside within it. And I am happy to reach across and help you all if you have any questions and answer any questions that you may have, and you can contact me directly. Thank you.
You see it in the form of the
And next up, we have Kathy Casales and Christina Saldivar.
Travis is built like a propane tank.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Kathy Castella's here. I was here a month ago. And I just wanted to say regarding some of the things the city attorney said, yeah, a declaration of an emergency won't stop ice, but it also doesn't stop like snowstorms or landslides. That's not why emergencies are declared, right? Okay. The other thing is, you know, worried about Gresham becoming a target. Gresham is already a target, okay? That's why we're here, right? Okay. So I don't have a statement to read out from yet another person in our community snatched unlawfully by ICE or living in fear of that. But you've heard that from others, and I'm sure you hear more. And I do have some other good folks for words to share with you this evening, since I'm not sure my comment at the last meeting about what good Germans were doing over 80 years ago really resonated in the way that I had hoped. So on this 5th anniversary of the storming of the United States Capitol, I'm going to go with Archbishop Desmond Tutu. If you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. Altar Lord said, your silence will not protect you or any of us. Okay, understand the moment we're in. If you do not, by now, all I can say is you're willfully blind. ICE is not coming for the worst of the worst. They're coming for our neighbors, our friends, our skilled workers, high school students, parents, trusted nannies and healthcare workers. And if you're not willing to help stop them before you know it, because we've seen this movie before, they'll be coming for you too. History will not look kindly upon those choosing to do nothing in this moment, and neither will any of our children or grandchildren. As the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. has said in various ways during his brief time with us, in the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by bad people, but the silence over that by the good people. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. Finally, cowardice asks the question, is it safe? Expediency asks the question, is it politic? With conscience asks the question, is it right? And there comes a time when one must take a position that is neither safe, nor politic, nor popular because conscience tells one it is right. It's high time for this council to stand up and do the right thing. Announce that you'll declare an emergency to protect the people that reside and work in the city of Gresham, the 4th largest in the state. Courage. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is acting despite it. In the immortal words of Nike, just do it.
Good evening, Mayor Stovall and councilors. My name is Chris Saldivar, and I am a community organizer with the East County Youth Collective, Together Lab, and part of the Sacred Organizing Coalition. I'm honored to work alongside middle and high school students and the adults who support them to ensure that young people feel noticed, named, known, and needed. It's no secret that Gresham is a special place full of great people, and our young people are no exception. They are leaders, contributors, creators, and caregivers, and it is so powerful to see them recognized in these city council meetings as rising stars for who they are and what they are bringing to this community, especially in these times. And I would be remiss to not acknowledge that too many of our youth in East County are in crisis. They are living through an unnatural disaster that is profoundly impacting them and their whole family system. The threats of violence of ICE in their community has led to deep fear and instability. Parents detained, families threatened, and livelihoods completely disrupted. Our youth are scared to leave their home, worried that their parent will be missing when they come back. They're fearful that they themselves will be detained. Just this week, a parent shared with me a conversation she overheard between her son and his friend. Her son said, "It's us. We're the ones doing the grocery shopping, driving them to the appointments, and worrying about our parents now. It's us." And those words still echo. It's us, I say to myself as I drive my parents to their appointments in Gresham, accompanying them to the grocery stores on Tuesdays, and wonder every day, will they make it home safely when I'm not with them? Our youth are being forced to grow up far too quickly, taking on responsibility they should have never had to carry. They should not have to miss school to take on extra jobs to cover lost wages of a detained parent or crisis plan for the care of their siblings. These realities are shaping how our young people in East County experience true belonging in this community. Like others here tonight, I want to share the words of a community member who did not feel safe speaking in person tonight. Hello, my name is Elizabeth, and I have been living in Gresham for 23 years. This immigration situation has affected me greatly. I volunteer at a church 3 days a week and the food bank twice a month. I also donate blood to the Red Cross. Unfortunately, I can no longer continue my volunteer work because I'm afraid to go out. It's very difficult to explain this to my children, everything that's happening. I have a daughter who suffers from panic attacks and depression, and I have to take care of her. I'm afraid that immigration agents will stop me and that my daughter will have a crisis. We are people who also want Gresham to be a safe place, a free city where we can enjoy its wonderful places like the Arts Plaza, its shops and restaurants in downtown Gresham without feeling persecuted by immigration. Very fortunate to know kind people in the community, and I never imagined that a situation like this one would happen to me. That is why I ask you all to please help us stop the persecution we're experiencing from immigration agents, and I urge you to declare that we are in a state of emergency, gather funds from the county to support us, make sure our public buildings continue to not be used by ICE, make sure everyone is required to drive with license plates, and label public and private spaces in our city. Thank you. The last two we have is Jim Arter, and then we have Sue Manala, who is online. Jim Arter.
Okay.
All right, and Sue Manala, can you hear us?
Nope, she got it.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. I realize council has an important issue for them tonight, so I'll make this quick. I read an article late yesterday regarding TriMet service changes due to budget cuts. Gresham Line 82 is listed for elimination. This is a north-south line, including Southwest Gresham, through our downtown, up Powell Valley Road to King. The notice also seems to indicate the lift service, which serves senior citizens and disabled, will not continue in these areas. There are senior and adult foster home locations along this route, as well as apartments. TriMet has scheduled open houses this month. 3 are virtual, 7 are in person, and not one of these is in Gresham. My question is, has Gresham staff had any interaction with TriMet regarding this? If so, I would appreciate being contacted to learn more details. If there has been no contact, I would ask the conversation get started to object to the elimination of this line, especially of a north-south connection, which the city is admittedly short of. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sue. Yes, we'll make sure that we circle back and let you know what's going on there. Thank you for that.
Mayor, Jim Arter apparently is ill, and his pastor wants to see his
Read a statement.
Correct, yes.
Yes, of course, yeah. We will certainly accommodate that. Thank you so much for being accommodating. I am actually, so my name is Reverend Josh Stromberg Wojcik, and I serve as Episcopal priest here in Gresham. And so Jim had actually been asked to read a testimony of another community member who did not feel safe coming here tonight. So I'm going to read this community member statement. And by the way, good evening, and thanks, Mayor Stovall and council members. I have lived in Gresham for 8 years, and I and my husband of 37 years met here, and I've gotten to know Gresham through him. We have a child together and want him to grow up here. We've had a lot of options to leave Gresham, but we decided to stay here because of this community, which has really become a family for us. The company I work for has decided to leave Gresham, which has made it a really hard decision to stay, but nevertheless, we have decided to stay. And with all due respect, when words come from the heart, they become actions. Actions that are currently still not on your list to do with urgency. You talk about a united community, but those same laws are disconnecting our community. You talk about having patience,
Does ICE have patience and tact with immigrants? You talk about time. Latinos are racing against time every second, every minute, every day. We are being observed every day without reason and without crimes on our record. The crime we are committing is wanting to work for ourselves, to educate our kids while being far away from our country and family members. As a community, we need clarity and openness. We understand that changes don't happen overnight, but what is your plan? What is your timeline? How do you plan to keep your community united? Which laws are you referring to that you must follow? Declare a state of emergency here in Gresham. Request funds that have already been allocated to protect immigrants with legal services and community services. Please, and make sure that words that come from the heart are also carried into action and not carried away by the wind, but become visible action for our community. Don't forget to actually show hospitality and sympathy towards the Latino community and entertain angels and use the power you've been given to actually entertain the angels that you've been entrusted to entertain and show hospitality towards. I'm going to also share an experience with my wife, who is an after-school tutor at Davis Elementary. There are times where they have not been able to send out the kids for their recess, for their break, because of ICE nearby. And there are times where staff from the schools had to go on the buses home with the kids because they're not sure the parents are going to be there or that the kids are safe when they arrive home. These kids are living in terror. They're trying to learn how to read. How are they supposed to learn how to read when they don't know if their parents are going to be home when they get home? Thank you.
God bless ICE. You don't have to worry about ICE if you're not illegal.
And that concludes our public testimony.
Thank you very much, Christina. I want to first start off with just saying thank you. It makes my heart smile.
There was like
that
5 people that signed up.
Ultimately, here in the city of Gresham, as we struggle with difficult and challenging things, we can still come together as a community and have incredible discourse as we deliberate towards solutions. You know, and that is something that is the Gresham way. And so I just want to thank every single one of you for your patience as we went through this evening, our ability to get through our public comment. Comes the hard part, because now the council gets an opportunity to have a discussion and a discourse based on a lot of things that we've heard. And so this is where I ask of you to allow the council to have its deliberations as we talk about and we consider what's been asked of us. I also will say that there have been a number of comments this evening that say that this council in this city has done very little or nothing. And I can tell you right now, that is not true. Now, you were right, we have not declared a state of emergency, but we've been very active moving towards ensuring that we can help with food insecurity, that we can help with utility assistance. Now, these are things that we are already putting in place. We've already partnered with many of the organizations that are in our community, and we've done this for years. We've made that commitment. The majority of this council that sits in front of you has made this commitment to our community to bring us together over years. You know, and so it's not to say that I'm sitting here disagreeing what your ask is of us, but it's also to say that we have not been sitting here doing nothing. As a matter of fact, just since the last meeting, I had the opportunity to meet with my fellow mayors here in East County. And pretty soon we're all considering a joint statement from our mayors, all 4 mayors, in support of our efforts that we're talking about here. We're actually, I talked to the chair of Multnomah County today, and we're asking Multnomah County that he had $50,000, $250,000 they set aside for emergency response to East County specifically. So we've got that ask. She also said that Metro is also dedicating funding, to these efforts, and actually recommended that we also ask for some funds from those dollars also. So these are things that we've been working on since the last meeting, as we've heard here. So we absolutely appreciate the conversation, the discourse. And again, now we have an opportunity to talk about what are the next steps that we are considering, that we're looking at as we begin to, move forward in these efforts, to help address what's going on in and around our communities. So with all of that said, I am actually going to be recommending to the council that we do consider a resolution, and that we do direct staff to draft and craft a resolution moving towards exactly what's been asked of us.
Absolutely not.
For consideration at our next meeting. And so I'm gonna ask the council about their thoughts, and I'm gonna start down at this end and start with Councilor Gladfelter, and then allow each of our councilors to respond to that request, to talk about if they've got additional items or thoughts or ideas about moving forward with the resolution. So Councilor Gladfelter.
Thank you, Mayor. Actually, I want to first start by saying I'm so grateful for you all to be here.
Throw a tomato.
And everybody that has shared, whether it's written or coming in person over the last several meetings, and sharing your concerns and your experiences and your perspectives. To our neighbors, and our friends, our families, and their voices are important. So I'm grateful for that. I do want to move forward with something. I know we can't fix everything. There's some of the things that we ask that have been asked that's not things that we can do. But know that, I can speak for myself. We are.
There was 4 different people signed up to speak for me that I was going to go up for. They didn't call any of them. They didn't call Nico.
Thank you, and again, thank you to everybody for
people.
Those that got to speak and voice their opinion, those that are here, you're voicing your opinion also. And it's very important in our community that we hear from our constituents. And we have a big decisions to make. I do have a question before I talk more, and that is that our city attorney mentioned earlier, he made the statement that it has been found that when some of these cities have done emergency declarations, that ICE has come in even stronger. Can you give us more information to that?
Mayor, I think council would be outside of something I said, I'm anecdotal. I did hear that with their experience increased support activity after their resolution. I have not confirmed anything. I have not the city attorney grapevine, so to speak.
Oh, that's good. Good. Oh, yeah.
Folks, I'm gonna ask you, please allow us to have our deliberation.
Mayor Stovall, Council Gaza. In the conversations we've had federally and otherwise, there's been dialogue that there may be an increased presence of ICE. One thing I would note is there's a calculator based on what
there is no concern.
And ultimately, there's a lot of factors that play into those items. I think the dialogue and conversation we've had thoughtfully, federally, with our partners and agencies, I feel like what perhaps is being discussed and deliberated, I think would be an acceptable recommendation. But I would prefer to some of these policy.
They don't represent America.
The reason I ask that is because we want to try to help. We don't want to hinder. So in possibly doing some sort of a resolution, I would hope that we would have time to go through that and have the discussion on what that might say so that we can move forward in a positive way and not cause more harm. I also would like to know, because I look at this, I listen to you, it breaks my heart. It absolutely breaks my heart. I can't imagine, my kids growing up, I can't imagine them having to go through that. I can't imagine any of this. It's not my story. It's not mine, but I can feel it. I'm not sure if the right word is empathize, but I just, it breaks my heart. And at the same time, I don't want to do anything that's going to cause more harm. I want to know, we can write this resolution. It's not, unfortunately, it's not going to change what ICE is doing.
Federal law matters.
I want us to figure out how we can change what ICE is doing out here. Why aren't we figuring out how to contact the federal government and saying, let's work together? You said you were gonna only come out after these horrible people that we all don't want in our communities, but that's not what's happening here. And I personally feel like it's not happening here because we did this to them and we're not having the discussions.
And so I would recommend that we figure out ways to have discussions so we can be a city that made a difference. Not just come up with another resolution that we'll do that really isn't gonna stop them from doing what they're doing, but we try to figure out how to make a difference for our citizens out here.
Illegal invaders are not citizens.
Council President Keith.
I really appreciate the opportunity so that you can hear from each one of us that I hear you and I see everything that you all are
They're all
going through.
committing treason.
I don't need to be convinced
I
of
hope they
it.
pay
It is
all
so
funding for
evident.
this
It's
sanctuary
evident
city.
in the ones being detained and everyone who witnesses them being detained. It is the worst thing for our community that we could hope for. I agree with you. I've also been elected to uphold the laws. That I can't break the laws. I also want to share with you one concern that I have. I appreciate the latter comments about knowing full well that if we do a declaration of emergency, it's not going to change
Insurrection
anything.
Act inbound.
And I
Let's
also
go.
heard almost every single comment say, you have the power to change this. You have the power to make us safer. You have the power. We don't actually. We cannot direct the federal government to do anything. I appreciate the comments from my colleague that said, let's figure out what we can do. Am I open to do a resolution that actually
It
defines
is.
what we've
None of
done?
this is making a
Because
difference at all.
this is so emotional for everyone.
This isn't gonna stop
I
ICE from
don't know that
deporting
you've
anybody.
heard
It's just
all
gonna
the
make them
things.
wanna come
On
here
several
and
of
do
the
it
things
even
that
more.
you've asked us to do, we've done that. We are doing that. We will continue to do
Yeah,
everything
that's
we
what we
can.
go.
But as an elected official, it is a very difficult job that I have to balance what we can do legally
Yeah, sorry.
and what's going to actually make a difference. I don't want to make it worse for anybody either. And if we do the declaration and it's out in the public, then our officers are going to be, I've already seen letters that say, why aren't they stopping ICE from victimizing our community members? We can't, it's not legal for us to do that. We are absolutely committed to withholding the sanctuary laws of the state of Oregon. And I fully support looking into whatever we can do to actually make a difference in that conversation. Let's do that. A resolution, absolutely. I am concerned about actually using the words a declaration of emergency for the reasons that I've stated. But again, I really want to, have a resolution that outlines our support and acknowledgement of everything you guys are doing.
Thank you, Council President. Former Council President.
Thank you. And as all my colleagues have stated, again, thank you for your testimony. We've heard from you for 3 business meetings now. And it's been heartwarming.
These people
It's
are
been
pathetic.
very insightful. It's allowed us to see behind the curtain about the everyday lives of those people in our community that have fear. Nobody wants to live in fear. We've heard some amazing testimony, very articulate, very moving testimony. I see signs that say, we support immigrant families. I think we all support.
There's a very big difference.
We are a nation of immigrants. We would not be who we are without immigrants. They are the fabric of our society.
Legal
We
immigrants.
are a city that has over 70 different languages. It's a
Legal
lot of
immigrants.
immigrants, and I would say that we're probably
Not
per capita,
illegal
probably
immigrants.
the most diverse city in the region.
Means
So,
we have the most
yes, we
illegal
support
aliens
immigrant
here.
families. We support them constantly coming to the United States. We've all heard about
No,
population
we
declines
don't.
all around the world, and we've talked to different jurisdictions around the world
Just
and understand they fear for their sustainability going forward in their countries. We do that as well in this country. We need immigrants to come and take the place of those who are not being born anymore in this country. We will not have the society we know today if we don't have that sustainability going forward. But it does need to be legal. It does need to go through a process. And doggone it, I agree, the process sucks. It's broken. It needs to be addressed, and our federal
delegation needs to do something about it. It's been broken for decades, and yet they squabble like children and can't reach across the aisle and figure this thing out. All we have to do is pretty simple. We just need to document who we have here, identify who they are, let them pay their taxes, let them pay their insurance, let them have their jobs, let them be part of the fabric of this community. It's pretty simple, really. Isn't it though? I mean, why can't we just get our federal legislators? And that's really, bless your hearts, we need to transfer this initiative to our federal legislators. They need to understand this. If there's any bright side of this whole nasty mess, is that hopefully it's raising enough awareness because of folks like you that they will start listening and they will understand that they have to get together. Can we do a declaration? Yeah, we can do an empty declaration, but it will not provide any funding. It will not provide any funding that we can't already get without it. It doesn't mean that it doesn't open any gates for funding from the federal government, the state government, from Multnomah County. We're going to get the money from Multnomah County anyway, just because it's the right thing to do. Can we create a resolution that identifies our resolve and helping bring all these things together and all the things that we've already done, which we've identified, which honestly, if you tick and tie all these things that you've asked for, almost all of them have been taken care of, and not only already, but also on an ongoing basis. So we appreciate you. We do love our immigrants. We want everybody to be safe. We just are trying to figure out a way to do it, and we'll do our best to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Hinton. Councilor Morales.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Councilor Eddie Morales. I'm a really proud son of immigrants. My parents came to this country from Mexico, and I was the only one out of us 9 children to be born in the United States. And so a lot of the experiences that you are talking about, I experienced firsthand every day, living in a mixed family, in a mixed household. It took a lot of courage for all of you to come today, and the last 2 times, and to continue to show up. And for those of you who are not immigrants, but are carrying the stories of immigrants or showing up for immigrants, thank you. Like some of my counselors here, I don't want to create more harm to our community. I don't want to give our community a false sense that they're going to be safe if we pass any resolution or anything, because of the fact that we have no jurisdiction over this administration and this federal agency. I heard you all saying that you understand that that's not going to necessarily change that, and that you're willing to still get a declaration out of us, a resolution, even though that's still going to be a risk. I hope that all of us, if we do pass one, and I'm supportive of it, that all of us will go back and communicate to our communities that this does not mean that they can walk around feeling safe and protected. This is not protecting them. And I think that's going to be all of our responsibility to go back out and do that work. In terms of the specific things that people have asked for, assistance, for legal services, for housing, for food, the really specific things, I think we have been working on some of those. We could be doing more. And if it's part of putting a resolution together that allows the county and metro and our federal delegation and our state to free up even more resources to come into our city, then so be it. I'm supportive of it. I have had a tumultuous relationship with our police department. I stood up for Black Lives Matter, and that caused a lot of friction. But at the end of the day, I do believe that our police department is out to take care of our community and of me. And when I hear this administration talking about us having very dangerous people in our community, I think to myself, I have a lot of trust and faith in our police department to find those people. And I don't think we need people with masks and no license plates coming into our city, harming our communities to find them. And so this is like my peace offering to our police department. Thank you for what you all do. But also my solidarity to our community, that I'm with you in values and action, but also in my own personal experience. And thank you, and I support our resolution.
Thank you, Councilor Morales. Councilor Brown.
Well, how do you follow all of that? And going last, I think I stand in full solidarity with the rest of my counselors, with all of you here tonight. I do want to recognize and appreciate your decorum and respect for us having time to discuss this. I do want to kind of just echo that we listed.
Motherfucking immigrant, and you over here with all these white
Not. Racism isn't working.
Nope. First, right when I said you guys were being so respectful.
All right, folks, let's finish. Let's allow Councilor Brown to finish her comments.
Thank you. I just wanted to, when we were, city staff was giving their update, I mean, these are all things that we have been sitting in meetings, we have been having these ongoing discussions. This wasn't new information to me, all the things that city staff has been working on and we've been collaborating with, but we've listed over 15 things that just in the last couple weeks, city staff has been doing. So I just want to recognize the work of city staff over the Christmas break, that we are not sitting idly by doing nothing. Things do take time. We have been working with, with talking with Multnomah County, talking with our federal partners. So there is still more work to be done, but just in the same way we sat and listened to all of your concerns, all of your requests, I just appreciate you also listening and absorbing that we are doing things, and we are trying to be heartfelt and strategic and just as proactive as we can, again, without causing more harm to our community. And I do also appreciate that many of you do understand that a state of emergency will not make you feel safer. I do support a resolution. I think one thing that I want to make sure is that we in that resolution is the economic impact that this is going to have on our community for many areas, specifically hospitality and Department of Agriculture, like those repercussions we haven't even felt yet, we will feel, but that I know that is coming. So I think recognizing that and trying to allocate funds towards that are like grant opportunities to help with that is going to be important. And I think our focus needs to be on federal immigration policy reform, not, what we can do. We can't do anything, again, about what ICE is doing with, on a day-to-day in our local community, but we do need to put pressure on our federal agency about the immigration policy reform so that this can be easier to become a citizen, to live here safely. So I can support all those things. Everything else that was already said by council, I fully support.
Thank you very much, Councilor Brown. Mayor. Councilor Piazza, and then we'll go ahead, Councilor Piazza, and then we'll go there.
I just wanted to let everybody know that we know that not all people were able to speak, and there are lots of written letters, but we have put together, Councilor Keithley, myself, and Rep. Ruiz next Tuesday will be here 6:15, and we invite you to come. We'll have another hour and 15 minutes for you to be able to give us more information, and so that we can listen to the things that we weren't able to hear tonight. So I would just invite you all to come, which will also help in the process before we get to the next meeting of making that resolution.
Thank you, Councilor. Is it Larry or Chief?
I think it's me.
Oh, yours, Chief.
It's been a busy night today, hasn't it? I just want to make it, it's important for us to understand and make it clear that our conversations with our federal partners are ongoing, but we have seen success with those conversations. And as we ask them to respect what we do in our community and the importance of keeping that separate from what they do, including that parking in our spaces or adjacent spaces or access spaces, that we have seen some, I'll call it compliance, but an agreement and understanding, and that has lessened, I think, overall. We've seen less and less impactful incidences in our community as we continue to try and understand the work they're doing. So I'm encouraged by that. I'm not necessarily optimistic that we're going to get this all figured out in the day, but at least encouraged that they will listen to us in the moment and understand the important work that we do and how to keep that separate from the work that they do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief. Thank you to our police department for the great work that they do to echo what Councilman Morales was saying. We have Sergeant Garrison here this evening with us, as he's here with us a lot, so we appreciate the work that you all do. So as we wrap up, I just want to say that again, I appreciate everybody's patience as we work through this evening, and I think you could recognize and notice the dedication of the folks that sit here. It's not that inaction is the course of action here. It's action is already going on, and as we deliberate, you've heard the concerns about potentially what could happen, what may happen as we move forward. It sounds like that risk is something that our community is willing to stand up for, and as I think it was Councilman Morales that referenced it, we're going to need you to ensure that folks can hear and understand, what this resolution can and cannot do. We need folks to understand and appreciate, that it's not going to give us any superpowers straight away, but really, it's work that we need to do. And Councilor Hinton referenced, I believe, Council President Keith had referenced that we do need your assistance at the federal level. So let's take this energy, let's take this purpose, to our federal delegations, because that's really where we need substantial change. So we've got, as you just heard, we've got everybody who we're moving forward with this declaration, with this resolution. We're going to get that drafted and have that prepared. As you heard, we've got a couple of counselors and Representative Louise, who's going to be hosting the listening session next week. I actually had a listening session just this last Sunday. Had an opportunity to meet with a number of folks. Thank you, Casey, for getting that set up. Appreciate that, and everybody that attended that. So, folks, we are listening. We are out there doing this work. So we appreciate everything that you're doing this evening, and appreciate the opportunity to work with you and continue to respond. And like I said, we will have this resolution prepared and ready for discussion at our next meeting. So with that, I just want to thank you all. Be safe as you go out this evening. And with that, council, is there anything for measures or proposals? All right, if there are no objections, we'll move to adjourn. All right, no objections, being adjourned. Thank you all for coming out. I greatly appreciate it. Everyone keeps sharing with us this evening. Yes, sir.
No, I saw them standing there face to face, but I didn't know what it was about.
So he started doing to these two what he's been doing to me, which is stare down.
Yeah.
Just standing there staring at me. I'm like, fuck off, dude, I'll be a bitch. I'm running over him, whatever. So the cop walked up and told him, he's like, you need to non-communication. He's like, oh, back here. I'm not sure exactly what he said.
But he did it to the
his
cop.
position, and then he like this so he could stare the guys down. And the cop just made a look like keep like nothing more than popping my head up.
Yeah.
So waiting to see all these terrible offenses.
I just want to say I'm glad you're doing well because I hadn't seen you down there. And
Oh,
I was a little concerned, but I understand.
I've been one of my contracts is winding down, so I've been working extra hard to get that all cleaned up. So I can- like, you're stressed, I love it.
I was like, I never let you have to so confused, but I was concerned. No, well, thank you. I appreciate that. You're still, are you still going to what? Are you still going to stay more? Right.
Samantha. Had a few discussions.
Yeah, he always does that to women. He always said after your stride.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna get a trial.
He's batshit crazy.
January 6th was a special day for me. Treasons. I was there on January 6th. Hosed down the entire traitorous scum that tried to overthrow the government.
You're so scary.
I don't care if it's scary. You will pay. All of you will face justice for your treasonous bullshit. You're gonna headbutt me, Josh.
Enjoy your day. God bless you. No, you don't got enough willy for me to blow.
You're too old anyway, you're stinky badge.
It's the power of sex.
I'm not afraid of any one of you.
Yeah, you are. That's why you always show up in safe places.
I'm right here.
We ain't can't face face.
You
don't want that.
You didn't, because he got in my face. 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 And he tried to touch me. That's all you have to do. Make a fair shot.
A fair shot. You want to actually make money in the house, right?
You have your sap glove on.
You know what's going to happen on that side?
Those are smart sites.
The right side. 6 feet right. I felt the same thing when I was acting. I joined the war with Bush and Cheney.
You didn't do anything.
The one that was supposed to be weapons of mass.
You were never in war. You
You didn't even get dropped in the car to save anybody.
You're
If you even deserve any valor, it's the lowest form of valor.
I didn't know what you were saying.
All you did is go grab 10 millimeters.
Very close to actually it's silly term. It's stupid. But I fight for you.
No, you don't.
He's actually really close to
No.
hopefully one day it happens, but
What have you done for your community?
All knowledge
Have you served
begins
anything
with the
besides
fear of
yourself?
God. All knowledge
What have you
begins
done?
with the fear
No.
of God.
Honest
you
question.
haven't done anything good.
What have you done?
You haven't done nothing.
Ever.
2 branches.
So what? You didn't do anything.
During
You didn't
wartime.
do anything.
During
Not,
wartime.
you went,
What
you
have
never
you done?
went.
Yeah, I did.
You never went to
You
war.
heard of Hurricane Katrina?
That's not in and out of America.
You just said you fought my squadron.
That was your squadron.
It sounds like you got insecurities.
No, nobody does. Why would anybody
Don't
be
you look your face in the rock?
You're projecting your insecurities right now.
Oh, yeah?
It's
Why would I
very
have them?
obvious.
Why would I do that?
Patches don't negate an insecurity.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't.
Sure. What have you done?
I've done plenty.
What have you guys done for your community?
Plenty.
Besides be silly.
If Trump was a fascist, you're absolutely fucked up. You can't have an American flag. You can't. You can't. No, you can't. You never even been in a fight in your whole life, probably, little baby boy. If you wouldn't busted grape in a foot fight, are you fucking serious? Pathetic. Pathetic, baby boy.
We out?
I'm gonna get it. Stay in your safe space. Stay in your safe space there, Trammy boy. So funny. So funny. Yeah. Oh, Trammy boy. Oh, hell yeah, baby. Oh,